We are the Church of the Larger Fellowship, a Unitarian Universalist congregation with no geographical boundaries. We believe in cultivating curiosity and transformation that is rooted in profound love.
For over 85 years, the ministries of the Church of the Larger Fellowship have circled the globe and crossed the walls of prisons. We are a spiritual lifeline for our over 2,000 members in prison, who are also connected to individual Unitarian Universalists through our letter writing ministry.
In our online community, we offer weekly worship, classes, and groups. Our monthly magazine, Quest, supports the spiritual lives of thousands around the globe. We know better than anyone how deep and meaningful connections can be formed even from a distance.
We are proud to be a leader in this faith movement, and we invite you to get involved in our ministry. We strive to be a place where anyone from anywhere can find spiritual refuge anytime they need it. Welcome to the Church of the Larger Fellowship.
We are so excited to bring you an all-new episode of the Voices of Unitarian Universalism, known affectionately as The View.
The View is a weekly Unitarian Universalist talk show discussing important faith-based topics from an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, and multicultural perspective.
Since 2013, we have gathered every Thursday from September to June to welcome guests from around the world.
Our guests are writers, scholars, activists, and religious thought leaders who are shaping Unitarian Universalism and society for the 21st century and beyond.
We hope that today's show inspires you. We hope it builds your faith and gives you perspective to see the power of Unitarian Universalism at work in your life.
Welcome to The View.
Greetings, beloveds. Welcome to another episode of the Voices of Unitarian Universalism, known as The View, or sometimes The Voo. We miss you, Kiana Dene.
We do.
It is good to be with you. It is good to be live. I'm the Reverend Dr. Michael Tino, half of the lead ministry team at the Church of the Larger Fellowship, coming to you from the very cloudy, gray city of Peekskill, New York, the land of the Kitchewan, Wappinger, and Munsee Lenape peoples, just a little bit north of New York City, where it is fall and it is turning into a beautiful fall. And at the same time, we have been socked in by clouds for the last 3 days consecutively, which means that all y'all who are seeing like Aurora Borealis wherever you live, I hate you, because like I just have gray.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania got the auroras.
Please, I have friends from North Carolina are like, oh, look, Aurora Borealis. And I'm like, I just got gray, people. I just got gray. I don't even know what to say. DC14, how are you? How are you doing, DC?
I'm all right, DC, I'm Reverend DC Fortune. I'm coming to you from Auburn, Maine, along the banks of the Androscoggin River in the unceded land of the Penobscot, Piscataway, and I just ran out of the name. I know it begins with a name. Anyway, Abenaki Council. So yeah, here in Maine, and we've had sort of the gray and blue sky. Like it's been blue sky a couple of times during the day, but come nighttime when you want to look up at the sky, nothing. But we did have snow on Tuesday, which was very exciting, and it was like actual snow. Like we got a couple inches on the ground, and it stuck until halfway through the next day, which was kind of cool because it stopped soon enough that the roads were dry and not icy, but it was still kind of pretty. It was still pretty cool. So, but now we're just doing the gray. Can't tell 10 in the morning from 2 in the afternoon. Never quite sure when lunch is, but yeah, it's the worst that happens today. I'll take it. Dante, how are you doing, man?
Oh, you know, fair to Midland, as the old folks would say. Here in, I'm the Reverend Dante Hilliard, and I have the joy of being one of the two learning fellows for the Church of the Larger Fellowship. And I am here in Chicago, Illinois, also known as the land of the Council of Three Fires, made up of the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi people. And we too have been gray. We had snow Sunday and Monday. It's all gone now. But I'm so glad to be back home. I don't care. Like, I don't. The thing about Chicago, people's like, oh, the winters. They're so. I was like, you know what? But winter doesn't run the show in Chicago. Like, life goes on. On the East Coast, 3 flurries and everything is closed and you can't go anywhere. And that just sucks.
Not
Different
the
part of
Northeast.
the East Coast.
The DMV where I was living.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They see 3 snowflakes and they cancel everything.
Yeah, they call it snowpocalypse.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
Baltimore.
So
There has to be at least 6 inches on the ground for them to think about closing schools here.
Right. Like we accept that winter is real and we adapt and we have tools and resources to allow us to live in harmony with winter, even at her snowiest or coldest. And so
like gloves that are worthwhile. Not
they
just
happen to be from Central Illinois. I'm originally from East St. Louis, Illinois, so I don't know how far you are from where I'm originally from.
I know. I used to live in St. Louis, Missouri, so I know right where you are.
Yes, and you also know how hot it is in the summer.
Jesus God!
The humidity.
Oh my word! St. Louis, Missouri is a swamp in the summer. It's surrounded on 3 sides by mud.
It's bad.
I used to live not far from the Lemp Brewery.
Okay.
So,
I also just returned from Charlotte, North Carolina for the UU Studies convention. And so I'd never been to Charlotte. Beautiful. And the UNC campus is gorgeous. It was super gorgeous. So, and then when I left, apparently they got snow right after I left. And they're not used to getting snow.
Yeah. I have a cousin in Florida who is alarmed that the iguanas are falling out of the trees.
I saw a map of the iguana alerts.
Right? Yeah. They have it coded like we have snow. Like you're going to get a trace to 6 inches, or 6 to 12, or whatever. Yeah, they're like, like actually be aware. Like iguanas will fall on your head if you go outside.
Because it gets to a certain temperature, the iguanas are just stunned, and if it gets a little bit colder, then they actually start falling. That's
what I was wondering. Is it the cold that makes them fall out the tree?
Yep. And they just go kabunk.
They're cold-blooded creatures, and so if it gets 45 degrees, they can't hold on to the tree anymore.
Right? Yeah, and it just looks like a very large sandwich has fallen out of a tree and gone thump in the parking lot. It's
that would freak me out.
Yeah, but first off, like lizards aren't supposed to be that big and that high, right? A lizard that size should stay on the ground and mind its own business. It has no business climbing up above me where it can jump on my head.
Because that could be an injury. Like that sounds.
You could get hurt. Yeah.
We could just put it on our list of reasons not to move
to Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
I lived in Arizona where we have the little bitty lizards that are everywhere, and you can't.
They're funny. They're like my little dog used to love them. Thought they were the best
house,
in the world.
And of course, my mother was like, "Oh, this house isn't clean enough," so we were always cleaning. I was like, "Mom, this is not a cleanliness thing. These lizards are just everywhere, and you just kind of have to make peace with them because we live in Arizona."
Right? Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. Oh, I have here because I've moved into this house. And the cold has really started. The mice are coming into the house because I have a 150-year-old house with fieldstone foundation, and I have 2 cats, one of whom seems really concerned that I'm not able to feed myself sufficiently and keeps bringing me mice. and is really offended when I throw them away.
It's what cats do.
They're like, look what I did for you.
Right? Clearly, you are a wretched hunter. Here's a mouse. Get your clue. And yeah. And Hammy, God knows, I mean, he's not the brightest cat there ever was. He's an orange boy. And so, like, he catches a mouse. He trots around the house with that thing in his mouth, like, look at me. I did a superhero thing, right? Yeah. And his sister just watches him like, that's disgusting. Spit it out. The joys of the change of this season.
For sure.
So what's on our minds today? Do we have like things happening in Unitarian Universalism that we need to comment on? Because there are some things I'm not going to comment.
Oh, now I want to know.
Are there things? So listen, we try not to like give power to certain people by naming their existence. View, but let's just say there's some infighting among
Jesus again,
people who have problems with Unitarian Universalism as a diverse plural religion, and those of us who love our diverse plural religion are watching the infighting with curiosity. We'll just call it curiosity, because to call it glee is not kind.
Reminds me when I was a kid, my parents would say, "Why don't you go play in traffic? Why are you bothering me? Right? Go find something to do that isn't here." Gee whiz.
So there is some infighting, and that is what it is. Sean Dennison, yes, disrespectful folks demanding respect.
Hi, Sean. I'm so glad that you're here with us.
It is absolutely true.
Yes. Oh, they would have been very bent, though, at the UU Studies Conference, because there were several presentations on reparations, histories of reparations, and connecting Channing and others to different threads of reparation conversation. And so that probably would have made them a little upset.
I have been reading Black AF history.
I've got that book.
Man, that is a fun book.
I need to get that. I don't have it yet.
I ordered 2 copies by mistake. I'll send you one. PM me your address.
Okay.
Instead of sending it back. It's one of those, like, I thought I ordered that, and I hit order, and then, like, I checked the mail, and it, oops. Right, yeah. So, yeah, I'll send you my spare. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need any more books for my gotta read this pile. I'm not making my way through it fast enough to just.
This one has ended up on my kitchen table and is the one I read while the coffee's brewing before I check email and stuff, because they're put together in nice, really digestible, not quite Reader's Digest length things, but the individual stories themselves are not.
Yeah, I do have it.
Read. Yeah.
So, Black AF History: The Unwhitewashed Story of America by Michael Harriot. For those who are listening on our podcast,
mm-hmm.
You have it. It has made its way onto my I must read this pile.
Not to offer disrespect to the book, its contents, its topic, or its author, but it could be well suited for a bathroom book. Like if you wanted to get,
just because it's short
exactly,
stories.
Yeah, little short bits.
Like no disrespect intended when you write something in
in nice little bites that you can read through in 5 or 6 minutes or something. Yeah, it's totally cool. Yeah, which is why it's the one that I read while I'm waiting for the coffee to brew.
Mm-hmm. We also got notice. Was it yesterday? From UUA headquarters about the multi-faith statement on our trans and non-binary siblings and supporting them in this period. Did you get to see it, DC?
We did. So, like, just it's not a statement that like surprises us,
No.
but it is a wonderful thing that Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, UUA president, put together a multi-faith coalition of the leaders of faith groups to make this public statement and release it together.
Yeah.
So we're actually working on getting some of the people who signed that statement onto the show.
Nice.
Dante and I started talking about it before the show. We started sending out invitations. We might have guests at some point soon. The other book that has just arrived for my gotta read it list is this book, The New Abolitionists, Neo-Slave Narratives and Contemporary Prison Writings, edited by Dr. Joy James.
Yeah.
It's actually, first-person accounts of incarceration and slavery, because we understand our carceral system today to be the direct descendant of chattel slavery, like not even related, like the direct descendant of it, maybe the grandchild of it, if you will.
Can you hold that up again, Michael?
Yeah, it's called The New Abolitionists.
Okay.
By James.
By who, James?
Joy
James.
And we'll put both of those. I can put both of those bibliographical things into our comments.
Okay, thank you.
What are you all reading?
Yeah, what are folks reading? And better yet, what are you reading for your own erudition, and what are you reading for like Hershey bar level content? Like what are you reading for fun? Like I'm reading these books, and I also read this other little science fiction sort of series that is like the brain candy as opposed to all the heavy nutrition.
I'm not doing any, unfortunately, I'm in dissertation land, so I'm not really doing any fun reading right now.
Oh,
but I just introduced a friend of mine to Wild Seed, and if you love Octavia Butler,
Jesus
Wild Seed is the prequel to her Patternist series. If you haven't read it, read it.
I got the parable books, and I read one, and I couldn't read anymore. I just curled up under my desk and wanted to suck my thumb for the rest of my life. I can't read Margaret Atwood for the same thing.
So the Patternist series is a separate series from the parable. The parable is very prophetic, and it feels like she wrote it yesterday. So I can understand why you may have a hard time reading that. But if you like a more sort of broader sci-fi, the Patternist series is probably for you. She talks about this world where humans have developed this psychic ability, but the way it works, how we talk about being a part of an interconnected web of being, you form psychic bonds with people. And then you can not only draw on their thoughts, but their skills and their abilities. And so it's wrestling with this notion of what freedom, right? Because stronger people can do this without you could do it willingly, or people can just take it from you, right? And so Wild Seed is the prequel to the Patternist. I think there are 3 books in the Patternist series, and then Wild Seed is the 4th book, which is actually the prequel. And it's amazing.
Read it first or read it last?
I read it first, and it made me want to read the rest. I think either way, it works.
Okay.
Well, we have other folks chiming in. Darby is reading Dismantling Mass Incarceration, A Handbook for Change. That's Darby's fun reading, folks. Love you, Darby.
God bless you, Darby.
Sean is reading things by Charlie Jane Anders, who's not an author I'm familiar with, but
yeah, me either.
We'll definitely be looking up. Natalie is reading the UUA Common Read, which is Deepa Iyer's Social Change Now, and also for fun, The Holographic Universe. Cool. And
Quantum physics and interconnect. Wow.
And Darby is plugging her favorite sci-fi fantasy horror author, Christopher Buehlman. Also not an author I've heard of. But
wait a minute, what's this on quantum physics? You know, that gets my juices flowing.
What was the one?
I'll put it back up. Natalie says she's reading
the holographic
pronouns. Natalie is reading the UUA Common Read and also the Holographic Universe about quantum physics and interconnectedness.
Anything about quantum physics gets, like, I'm that person that will go watch a Nova special for fun, like string theory.
I'll watch those, but I can't read them because my brain just gets jammed up with all the words I don't recognize.
I was trying to think. So again, I'm not doing a lot of fun reading, but y'all know I talk a lot about Conjure, and so my latest books is this one is called Mojo Working by Katrina Hazard Donald, and she does a lot of research on the African American tradition known as hoodoo, and her theory is that hoodoo is actually the root of Black religion in America, and you can trace everything else as a splintering off of the hoodoo tradition.
So that's who? Mojo Working?
Yeah, Katrina Hazard Donald.
Okay.
And so I'm really excited about this book, and I think I'll be using it. It'll show up in my dissertation.
We're putting them in the show comments because people might be interested. The other one I put in there, I'm about to start reading with my daughter. She has to do a project, and it has to be a book written by a Black author, which is great. And the book that I picked in consultation with booksellers and teachers, and the head daughter, is Jacqueline Woodson's Harbor Me, which is about a group of Black teenagers who discovered the power of telling each other the stories of their lives and their traumas in a class, in a middle school class. So,
did y'all know that Bell Hooks also wrote children's books? Did y'all know that Bell Hooks also wrote children's books?
I do not know that.
Yes, she has a series of children's books. She really was like a Renaissance woman. She did everything. Yeah, so she also wrote several children's books. So it might be something for you to look at other future things to read with.
You had two books you were holding up, Dante.
Okay.
It's about one.
The other one is called Black Magic, Religion and the African American Conjuring Tradition. And this is by Yvonne P. Chereau, Chireau, Chereau. And so I'm reading these because you all know I talk a lot about worship as a form of conjure, where we call into being. And so I'm reading these to sort of make a clearer connection between the tradition of because one of the names for hoodoo is conjure, and conjure is also a practice. And so the interesting part about conjure is, and I love the way Katrina Hazard talks about this, conjure is also the first public health system. Because conjure is one of the hearts of conjure are root workers who were basically community health people. When you were sick, there were no doctors for my enslaved ancestors. There were no hospital. You went to the conjure person, and they understood roots and herbs and things like that. So yeah. So those, I'm pretty excited about those.
Cool.
Apologies to anyone who was hearing a whistle, and I don't know what the feedback was in my background, but I think I've solved it by putting
it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, it was just getting to the point where my fillings were starting to be like, what the hell is going on?
Mine too, and I muted myself. I'm like, oh fuck, that's me. 12:25, me.
Michael.
So y'all, I don't know if y'all know, we mark the time that someone says fuck for the first time.
Right. Right. And we mark who it is, and it's very rarely Michael.
Almost never. Almost never.
It's usually Aisha or me.
So Aisha will be sorry she missed. She missed that. We send Aisha good wishes. She is dealing with a personal emergency, and we hope that it is resolved quickly.
Yeah.
And swiftly.
Yeah.
Y'all,
So Darby says R.I.P. to my TBR pile.
I figure I'm going to be found dead someday underneath my TBR pile.
I'm a bibliophile, and I don't apologize for it. I love books, and I like to hold a book. I do have some digital books, but I want a book. I like the smell. I like to turn pages. I like to be able to write in the margins.
I will get like my science fiction. I was reading a series created by Eric Flint of alternative history novels. Those I go through like candy bars, right? So I'm not going to take up bookshelf space for 100 paperbacks. So I put those on a Kindle, right? So that I have like my big books that I want to like write in the margins and think hard about. Those I'll have as actual paper books, and I put on a shelf.
Yeah.
So
and I have canceled Amazon Prime long ago, and I will not order books from Amazon anymore, even though they show up the next day, and it's really very super convenient. I just don't. I had to draw a line somewhere, and so I want to share my favorite independent bookstore, which is Content Books in Northfield, Minnesota, a store I have never physically visited, but which I got connected to during the pandemic lockdown. They are owned by a friend of a friend of a friend, or a friend. Like I don't know how many steps removed I am from the people who own this independent bookstore. And like many independent bookstores, they were struggling during the pandemic lockdown because they were getting no foot traffic.
right.
And so they began an offering that they still continue to this day, where you can fill out a questionnaire about someone, including yourself, but about someone and their interests and their likes and their reading level and the kinds of things that they like to read, and the amount of money that you would like to spend. And they make that a very wide range. You can spend $20 or you can spend $100 or whatever, and they will send a hand-selected box of books and sometimes art supplies and things to that person.
Is that?
Yeah.
And it's
So
called
I started
again?
Content Bookstore,
And it's in Northfield,
Minnesota. And now the folks I know who live in Northfield, Minnesota, love this bookstore. So when I tell them,
St. Olaf College and Carleton College and the defeat of Jesse James days.
So when I tell them that my favorite bookstore is in their town, they're always delighted, even though I've never been there. So I started ordering these packages for my daughter for Christmas. And, I tell them, like, here's the reading level that she's at now. Here are the things. So there was one year, and this is when I fell in love with the people at this bookstore, that I said, my daughter really loves spiders, even though she's kind of a little bit afraid of them. And for those of you who know, DC knows my daughter has dressed as a wolf spider for 2 Halloweens running because she is absolutely fascinated by spiders, even though she's a little bit afraid of them.
Well, I'm way afraid.
And they sent her a book, the title of which was something like Sam Wu is really, really not afraid of spiders. And it was at her reading level about a kid who was fascinated by spiders but kind of afraid of them at the same time. And I'm like, damn, I love these people, right? Like,
independent bookstore people and librarians are freaking wizards of a high order. They really are.
So when she and I had to, when she had to choose a book for this project, I asked her the kinds of things she wanted to read, and I sent an email to the folks at the bookstore saying, "Listen, my kid has to do this project. Here's the things she loves to read. Here's her reading level. Do you have suggestions?" And they sent me suggestions, and it was just the lovely. It was absolutely the loveliest thing. So I ordered the book from them, and it is wending its way through the U.S. Postal Service towards us, and she can start her project.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But like, if you all have other independent bookstores that you like to support, I invite you to put them in the chat or to share them. I'll put websites. Like, I think it's important that we support.
Oh, absolutely.
Independent bookstores.
My first bookstore fascination was the Seminary Co-op bookstore in in Chicago. I'm
Chicago,
there, Michael.
I have been there many times.
DC?
I've never been.
Oh my goodness! It's built like it's underground. It feels like you're going into this dungeon, and it's a co-op bookstore. It's been there forever.
Okay.
And it's where most of us who go to seminary in Hyde Park, that's where often we bought before like all this online stuff, it's where we bought our books. And it's just rows, and it's like a maze of just books.
And I know enough people whose kink is buying books that to call it a dungeon is appropriate.
Yeah. That was my first bookstore. I would just go sometime and get to get lost in there, just wandering
just to inhale, right?
Yeah, right. All the book dust.
Smell of a good bookstore.
Oh yeah.
So if you're in Chicago and you love books, you should definitely check out the Seminary Co-op bookstore. I believe that's off of 57th and Woodlawn, or is it 56th? Somewhere like between 55th, 57th, and Woodlawn is where the Co-op bookstore is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely
Seminary Co-op bookstore. You could Google that, and it would get you there, probably, right?
Yeah, and they have a website.
All right.
I thought it was more like 59th or 60th, but
and for those of us who are in Chicago, it's also like.
I know it's
5751, so it's between 57th and 58th on Woodlawn.
The building it is in was the campus for Chicago Theological that got sold to the University of Chicago.
Okay.
And now CTS has a new campus further south. But yeah, so I was in that building all the time.
And Darby, you have a favorite independent bookstore that you took Aisha to? If you want to pop the website to that bookstore in the chat, listen, I'm all in favor of plugging our favorite independent bookstores.
There's a unique thing here in Maine, in Ellsworth, and it's not technically an independent bookstore. It's more of a giant antique / used book place. And it's called the Chicken Barn because it's in one of those former, like, 100-yard long, 4-story chicken barns that have long since stopped being used for chickens. And there's like 2 floors of, the antique-y sort of things, right? And then there's like 2 floors of books from one end of that place to the other. Oh my God, it's amazing.
That sounds fun.
And you can go in there and come out with a giant tote bag of books for like $20.
So the Chicken Barn in Ellsworth, Maine.
In Ellsworth, Maine. Yep. I mean, don't go there in July when it's rainy because it still smells like a chicken barn sometimes in the heat and the humidity. But yeah, it's hard to drive by when I'm on my way down to Bar Harbor. It's like, oh, there it is.
Like, why would you drive by it?
No. Well, if the car was already full of stuff.
Oh, okay. That's a good reason.
Yeah.
That is a good reason.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Oh, man. So I like that. What are you reading? Yeah, I'm curious. What are folks reading? And here's a good question. What are your favorite escapist things to read?
That's, I'm not sure if I read to escape, but I do try to feed different parts of me. So, like, I'm a graphic novel person. I grew up on comics. I love
Mhm.
comics, superhero stories.
Mm.
I'm really getting into. There's a lot of new Black independent graphic novelists and comic book writers. Eventually, I want to go to a convention because now with technology, you don't have to be with the big graphic novel companies anymore to publish. And so there's several Facebook groups for Black creators and fans of them. So yeah.
There's a Black woman I follow on Facebook who's a nurse who has just finished publishing a graphic novel.
Mm.
Damned if I can. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll go see if I can find her.
Yeah, so graphic novels. I think the last set I was reading were about Nubia. Nubia is the sister of Wonder Woman, um, and she is a Black woman. And technically, they're twins. That Wonder Woman didn't know that she had a twin sister. That when Zeus made them, he made two, and Nubia became the guardian of the underworld, or the portal to the underworld, to make sure that certain evils didn't escape. And then eventually she becomes the queen of Themyscira, which is the home of the Amazons. So I've been reading a set of those, and then there's this other graphic novel. Oh God, I'm losing the name of it, but it's about a family of Black monster hunters out of Harlem. Is it called Blood at the Root? I might have to go look for it, but I was like, I feel like it was an inspiration for Sinners, the movie, because it's so much fun. I'm gonna go grab it in a second while y'all talk.
The last book I read for fun was a novel called The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich, and I read it to be part of a book group at my spiritual home, Susie, the Southeast UU Summer Institute, and it is the premise of it is that everyone in the world who is more than a certain age, like it's like 20, I don't remember the age, one day receives a box on their doorstep that is engraved on the top in whatever language they speak. The measure of your life lies within. And inside the box is a string. And they quickly figure out that the string is proportional to the amount of time that people are going to live. And there are some people who will not open their boxes. They refuse to open their boxes. They don't want to know. And there are some people who open it and they have long strings. There are some people who open them and they have short strings. And the chaos that ensues in worldwide societies, because everybody in the world, and then as people turn that age, they get a box with a string in it. Like in North Korea, they collect everyone's boxes and put them in a warehouse and don't let anyone open them, for example. So like just like what ensues, and it was a great book club book because it made us think about, like, if you could actually know that information, would you want to? And I don't think I would.
Really?
I don't think I would.
I don't want to know.
But no shade on anyone who's like, yes, fuck yes, I'd want to open. I'd open the box. I'd measure the string. I'd want to know the day. Because like it got to the point in the book, and I don't think it's not too much of a spoiler because it's the main plot of the book, that it got to the point where they could they scientifically figured out like the exact correlation. So if you very precisely measured it, you would know very precisely. It was creepy and fascinating and interesting, and the people in it were all very human. And it was so.
If you're obsessed with Black Panther, like I am,
let us know. What is it?
This is called Protectors of Wakanda. It is supposed to be the handbook for the Dora Milaje, and it teaches you the history of the Dora.
And who's that by?
Hold on, let me.
Is there an author?
Is oh wait.
I just want to like capture these things in the chat so that people are coming back.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's not on the front cover.
That's right. We're good. We're just gonna go with Protectors of Wakanda, and trust that people can find it.
Now, this one of my favorite independent Black comic book companies called Black Sands, and they have several editions out, and they're also offering people opportunities to become investors in their company. But so they take a lot of mythological characters out of West African tradition, and these are like child versions of these folk heroes, and we get to see them grow and develop and learn to use their powers and things like that. But they have other series, but that particular series I particularly like. And here's the book I was telling them about. Well, this is when I find something that I missed, I go find the collection of multiple volumes, and so it's called Bitter Root. This is about the family of monster hunters out of Harlem. And if you like Sinners, and you
that was too scary.
You should get Bitter Root.
It's too scary. I can't do monster movies. Okay, the woman I follow, her name is Ashley Page, but if you Google Ashley Page, you get some weird blonde white woman. But she's a creator on TikTok. Where her handle is The Beholder of Beauty. And she is a best-selling author and nurse, and her grandmother is from the islands somewhere. I don't know which one, so I'm not going to try and guess. But she tells the best stories. Let's see. The Soul of My Pen is, I think, might be the book. That's her handle on Facebook. The Soul of My Pen. And on TikTok, it's The Beholder of Beauty. And she's delightful and funny, and just has impeccable timing when it comes to telling stories, which is really cool. And she just, had a graphic novel come out. So, she said her grandmother does not understand.
I love comic books. Because what I don't think people realize, comic books have always been politically ahead of the curve.
Oh yes.
Than the culture. Like
art always is.
Yeah. I was like, in the X-Men series, Professor X and Magneto were modeled after MLK and Malcolm X. Like this notion of, do we invest in the people and hope and believe they can be better, or do we just like fuck it? And we're like, we're warring, let's war.
Nuke it all back to rocks. Yeah.
So yeah, comic books have been way more progressive than the culture. So yeah, I'm definitely a bibliophile.
Yeah. Now I'm just like, I have so many more books. Oh shit.
So any other recommendations from our viewers?
Yeah, I want to know.
Like, we'll put them up on the screen. Pop them in the chat, beloveds, on Facebook and YouTube.
I just shared one of my favorites during seminary. And this is somebody who came from a background where I had zero scriptural understanding of anything before I got to seminary. Okay. There's a book called Lamb, Lamb, and it's a satire, and it's by Christopher Moore. And it purports to be the unpublished gospel according to Biff, Jesus's childhood friend. And it covers the time between Jesus as a child teaching, right, where his parents like they left him at Walmart and they had to go back and get him, right? And then he shows up later when John the Baptist is drowning people in the River Jordan and baptizing them. Like it covers that 30 years, and it is just an absolute delightful romp through Eastern religion and philosophy and Darby. Is that Darby? Yeah,
It's Darby.
Yeah. Oh, like I read that every winter break in seminary, and the more I learned about scripture, the funnier it got.
Now, this is not a book, but if anyone has not seen the Book of Clarence, the movie starring Lakeith Stanfield.
Wait a minute, Clarence the Angel?
No. So it is a satire. It is about the life and times of the Christ, but Clarence is the central character. Clarence is supposed to be the brother of Thomas, the doubter. They're twins. And Clarence decides he wants to be a Christ. And so he goes on a campaign to become a Christ. Because
Jonathan Livingston Seagull? Like Jonathan Livingston Seagull?
I don't think I've seen that. But yeah, he just decides. And because those of us who are familiar with the biblical tradition know that Yeshua of Nazareth was not the only one to claim or be proclaimed a Christ. There were many, including John the Baptist. So Clarence decides he wants to be a Christ, mostly to get out of trouble because he owes some debts and he don't want to be murdered for them. So the Book of Clarence starring Lakeith Stanfield is beautiful. First of all, it's aesthetically beautiful. The only white people in this version are the Roman soldiers, who are the police. So it's very historically accurate.
Yep. We're also the only white people in first century Near East too. So.
Right.
That's very historically accurate. And it's just a lovely spin on the Christ story. They're using sort of biblical historical criticism, engaging in, but it's just a fun story, yet good. And I mean, it's just aesthetically beautiful.
I might have to start using that as an interjection. Clarence Christ, would you stop that?
But yes.
Slightly less blasphemous.
Oh, and the reveal of the story is a theory behind how we got a white Christ, a white Jesus. And that's the final reveal of the movie, is how we got the white Jesus.
So Darby has recommended another cheeky religious humor book, Towing Jehovah by James K. Morrow. Thank you, Darby.
It's funny. We one of my favorite questions when in a job interview is, "What are you reading?" Because if somebody says, "Oh, I don't read," then I'm sorry. Thank you very much for your time. Go away.
And by reading, we include
audiobooks. Absolutely. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear. What media are you consuming?
Right. Yes. And I think podcasts are the 21st century versions of magazines.
Sure.
See, I think of them as the reinvention of radio drama.
Okay.
Too. That's how I think of the podcast. It's like a throwback to radio with a modern spin.
Yeah, I think, and I think we do ourselves a disservice by sort of poo-pooing podcasts, because there's some amazing people doing some amazing stuff out there.
Well, we're not going to poo-poo podcasts here on the
No,
View.
no, but
podcast.
but you know what I mean, as far
Yeah.
as,
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
yeah.
Well, it's snobbery to poo-poo somebody else's way of absorbing information and engaging
Yes.
with different voices, right?
Right.
To gatekeep.
Yeah. Don't yuck somebody's yum.
Well,
I mean, it's like,
yeah.
it's like, opera used to be the popular music of its day, right? And like now it's become some hoity-toity bullshit, right? Because it's $300 to get a ticket to the opera.
Have you seen the price to see the Eagles lately?
Or
On the
Taylor
Geezer tour?
or Taylor Swift,
Or Taylor Swift, right?
Beyonce, but
ooh, yeah.
But I also like 20 years ago, we, particularly those of us in academia, we poo-pooed online education, and
Yes.
now everybody is
Uh-huh.
doing online education.
Well, it's not unheard of for people in bricks and mortar congregations to poo-poo online religious community,
Mhm.
which we do here at the Church of the Larger Fellowship. And we know that we've actually formed real relationships
Yes.
Yes.
with people.
Yes.
Yeah, if it wasn't for CLF and Blue, I don't think I would have come through, became a Unitarian.
Really?
No, it was CLF and Blue that said, "Oh, okay, I can do this," because I've known about UU since the early 2000s, and I was like, "Oh, their theology works for me." But I was like, "It's just too white." And then I encountered CLF, and I found the View, and through CLF and the View, I found Blue, and I was like, "Oh, I can do this. This works." So we will not poo-poo.
And the one thing that will never accurately be said about Blue, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, is that it is too white.
It is not.
Nope.
Which is a blessing,
Right.
to the
The
people
one
in
part of
Blue and to our
Unitarian
faith.
Universalism that is not actually too white.
Oh goodness.
Oh man.
So I do have a question. Let me see. Well, it's almost time to go. I won't.
We've got 8
ahead.
minutes.
Go
You
ahead.
can ask me a question.
Well, we've been talking about, and this is the sad stuff, the increase of prices on everything. But I had this experience yesterday where a good friend of mine, young man who lives in Atlanta, called and he was like, "I need help choosing my new health, insurance plan." And I was like, "Okay, well, what's going on?" He said, "Well, I was on this plan and it was only $20 a month, and now it's $150 this year." And I was like, "Whoa, what?" Like, that's a huge leap. Like, the same plan that he was getting for $20 a month is now like $130 or $40 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is what everyday people are experiencing.
Yeah.
And that's not a small leap.
No.
And the plans that were 200 or 600 and 800.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I know people who are like, "Oh, my plan just went from $300 a month to $1,700 a month," and I just don't have a chance. Like, I don't make that much money.
The plans that are less than $100 a month, basically, they have deductibles of $8,000 and $10,000.
Yep. Yeah.
So basically, you don't have insurance because you got to come out of your pocket $8,000 or $10,000 before you ever get anything.
Right. Yeah. And
you have
catastrophic
payment.
That's a house payment. That's a rent payment. That's a much fancier car than I've got payment.
Yeah. So
it's cruelty in service of the concentration of wealth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Health insurance is medical extortion.
Oh my God, yes.
Mm-hmm.
if you don't, and I once equated it with how sometimes we behave in congregations where people withhold money until they get something their way,
Mhm.
right? So like the insurance companies or the medical system will say, we have this life-saving medicine, but you have to pay $2,000 for it. And if you haven't got $2,000, then you die.
Mhm.
Like, how is that different from kidnapping and saying, if you don't give me $5,000, you'll never see this person again?
Right.
I mean,
It's the same
I
thing. And we often do that same sort of thing to our congregations, where we say, I'm not going to give unless this policy changes or that personnel changes or whatever. And if you withhold the lifeblood of an organization, then you can't be surprised when it dies.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I have a dear friend whose husband had a heart transplant yesterday.
Yes.
And we send lots of love to Peter as he recovers from that operation that apparently was successful. But, if they didn't have health insurance,
Right.
it wouldn't have been an option.
Yeah, no.
Just would not have been an option to
Yeah.
have a heart transplant, and he'd be dead.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because his heart was failing.
Mhm.
Right.
And like, how do you? I mean, like
And
the
you
heart.
ask, like
Mm.
you ask people from other countries that have universal health care. You ask them, what do you think it costs for an ambulance ride in the United States? And they're like, you have to pay for that? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think an inhaler costs in the US? $250. What?
I didn't know that you had to pay for an ambulance ride until like
You
my
needed one?
kids preschool called an ambulance because she was having an episode, and I'm like, all right, like, I mean, the hospital was 300 yards from the preschool. Like, I could have picked her up and carried her there,
Right.
and they called an ambulance, and then I got the bill, and I'm like, what? And I have health insurance. That was the bill with health insurance
Yep.
for the
Yeah.
ambulance ride. I was like, excuse me?
I'm not looking forward to the bills that come from my 2-day stay in the hospital when I almost had sepsis.
Yeah.
No.
The connect between, I think, our work around abolition and this conversation around healthcare is the thing about capitalist grind culture is you have what you can afford. You are as free as you can afford. If you
Mhm.
cannot afford a high paid lawyer, you're probably going to jail. Right? If you can afford health care, you're going to be sickly and you're going to die. Right? Like, you are as healthy as you can afford to be. In this
Heather
country.
Gatlin tells us that it's $75 for an ambulance ride in Canada, which like is probably $75 too much, but it's still like the bill that I got with health insurance was $700.
Yes.
For 300 yards.
For an ambulance ride across the street.
Yes. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we got to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
This is the privatization of everything, and again, it's like, do our leaders study history? Because the empire always fails when the masses are totally, not just one group, but you've alienated everybody. And now everybody's pissed. Everybody's suffering. You're out here saying, let them eat cake. That's not, it's not a good sign.
Now that we have brought this joyous conversation about the books that we're reading to lift ourselves up back into
the grim reality of
reality, it is 1:00 Eastern time, and I'm so glad that we had this conversation, and it will continue next week.
Yeah, it was nice to have a good conversation that that was relaxed. It didn't have a point we needed to get to. It was good. It was good just to hang out and find out what people are reading. Be well, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Special thanks to everyone who gives generously to this ministry. It is because of you that this ministry is possible.
Visit clfuu.org/give to make a contribution.
We hope you will join us next week for another episode of the Voices of Unitarian Universalism.